This look was done on acne skin, no filters, no effects, just the power of makeup. And honestly, it's been years since I've worked on another person's face, so I'm going back into student mode and learning professional makeup properly again so I can update my skills and feel confident teaching you the latest techniques. Come learn professional makeup with me. Today I'm working on a model with acne prone combination skin, focusing on creating a flawless base while keeping everything thin and natural. Meet Rosa, our beautiful model today. The look we're doing is a soft, smoky glam, leaning Thai style. I'm learning with Phan again. She taught me last time and I loved her teaching style so much that I came back to learn properly on a model. We start with skin prep because for professional makeup, this is the most important step. She uses a toner pad to cleanse and hydrate the skin, then massages a layer of hyaluronic acid toner. She explains that with acne skin, there's often dead skin around active pimples, and if you skip this next step, makeup can sit bumpy and look cakey no matter how good your products are. Her tip is to gently exfoliate around the pimples using a rich moisturizing cream. This one is from CeraVe. She massages the cream with a cotton bud in small circular motions, so this is going to help soften and lift up any of that flaky skin. In the past, I would usually use an exfoliator after I cleanse, but this can be a little bit harsh and irritate acne prone skin, so her tip is genius. She also uses the same cream under the eyes as a thick mask to help fill in lines and prevent creasing. She's going to let that sit for about 5 minutes while she preps the rest of the skin. Here she's going in with the Bobbi Brown face base, smoothing it on, following the directions of facial hair growth. The skin should feel hydrated and slightly tacky, not slippery. If it's too slippery, you want to wait until the product absorbs a little bit more, or grab a tissue paper and blot it back slightly. Today she's going to apply makeup to half of the model's face so I can practice on the other side. Moving on to color correcting, she's using a pinky tone color correcting primer. This is going to help brighten yellow or olive undertones, which is really common with Asian skin. This step helps to even out the skin so that we don't have to apply as much foundation on top. I see a lot of Korean artists do this and now I finally understand why. Then we move on to concealer. Yes, we're doing concealer before foundation. This is key when you're working with acne skin. For under eyes, she applies a peachy concealer only to the deepest, darkest area first. She blends this outwards and slightly upwards towards the lash line so it looks lifted and natural. For pimples, she uses a concealer slightly darker than the natural skin tone because if you think about it, usually those areas are hyperpigmented and the darker shades will cover them better. So it makes sense to use a darker shade on those areas. Now for foundation, and this is where I learned a really good tip. She's using the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and because Rosa has combination to oily skin, she mixes 1 drop of the Makeup Forever Aqua Seal. This helps the foundation last longer and prevents oxidization so your base doesn't slowly turn darker throughout the day. She even said that this makes it waterproof enough for swimming, which completely blew my mind because I would only use the Aqua Seal to revive liners. I didn't actually know you can add it in foundation. Next, she applies foundation from the cheekbone down towards the chin. So imagine a very soft V shape down the face. This is the area that usually needs the most coverage, so we want the thickest layer of the foundation there. Then she blends towards the center and any remaining product gets blended out towards the perimeter. So we're keeping the base really thin and natural looking. Now she's using a sponge to blend out any brush strokes. And if you have large pores, this next tip is really good. Instead of swiping foundation over the pores, she's actually pushing the product in to almost fill the pores. Now at this stage, if you notice any flaky areas that can't be removed, do not panic. Instead, just press to flatten them against the skin. Avoid brushing over them because that will lift the skin and make it look worse. This was such a good reminder. If the first layer of your foundation already evens out the skin, do not apply a second layer. That's how makeup gets cakey real quick. Instead, she spots conceals only where needed, using tiny amounts of concealer and tapping it out until the edges disappear. On acne areas, she uses a very light pressure so the product doesn't lift or shift too much. Next is cream highlight. Guys, I didn't realize how much this step can lift the face before contouring even happens. She uses a slightly pink toned highlight for Rose's skin tone, spreads it out evenly on the sponge first, first. Then she presses it onto the areas where she wants to add fullness and brightness. So areas like under the eyes, the smile lines, a little bit on the chin, on the T-zone. She's super light-handed here. This step is more about filling and smoothing to add dimension. Guys, like look, after this step alone, the face already looks more sculpted, more lifted and balanced. Then we have cream contour. She uses Fenty, an OG product. And because Rosa already has an oval face, she keeps the contour quite minimal. She skips the forehead and instead just contours a small amount on the cheekbones and jawline, and mainly focuses on the nose. For the nose tip, she maps it out almost like a diamond shape, then draws two little C shapes moving up the bridge. So one in the center of the bridge and one towards the inner corner of the eyes. This is going to help shorten the nose. Once she blends it out, you can see how it creates a very natural looking shadow instead of harsh lines. It's so seamless and natural. Then we have cream blush, and this is where the Thai style influence really comes in. She applies the blush diagonally, starting from the outer third of the eye and sweeping upwards towards the cheekbones. Can you see it instantly lifts the face? Now, if there's too much product around the edge, she just uses the sponge to diffuse it and so that it melts back in with the base. Now, it's my turn to do the other side. And wow, I was feeling very rusty. I was nervous. I totally forgot to do concealer first and went straight to the foundation after primer. Such a klutz. Now, it's not ideal, but also not the end of the world. I just have to use a little bit more product to cover up the acne spots. The real question is, can you tell the teacher's side from the students? You tell me at the end. Everything else was going really well until we reached the nose contour. Let's just say my mapping was a little bit off and it didn't really line up. Jun explained that if I was to blend this out, the nose contour would look wonky. So she helped me thicken up the lines to correct that. See, I am totally learning with you guys. The whole base technique and learning how to cover up acne, this was so in-depth for me. Jun really knows how to break down the steps, so it actually makes sense. And having her there to correct and guide me makes such a big difference. Okay, now she's ready to lock everything in with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. She does this before moving on to powders. She's opting for 2 shades of pressed powder, a lighter one that she'll use throughout the center of the face, the cheeks, the T-zone, and slightly over the brows. As she's applying it, she lets the brush rest on the skin first before sweeping it, so it actually presses the powder into the skin instead of just like dusting it away. Next, she'll use the slightly deeper powder around the edges of the face, which will help add natural dimension. Once the base no longer feels sticky, it's set. For the under eyes, she uses a slightly luminous pressed powder. This one's from Hourglass. This is going to help that area stay smooth and concealed. Then she's going to reinforce the contour using a powder contour and just applying that directly over where the cream contour was placed earlier. She's not doing any new shapes, she's just setting what's already there. Then a powdered blush gets layered next. And this was really interesting because she uses 3 blush shades. A main shade, a lighter shade with a little bit more white to highlight and add fullness, and then a deeper shade that almost acts like a bronzer. This layering technique makes the makeup look professional. The lighter shade goes under the eyes to soften their transition, and then the deeper shade is applied from the bottom upward along the cheekbone to enhance and structure. It sounds like a lot, but it just makes the face look more lifted and dimensional. Then for highlight, she's using the Dior highlight palette, and she explains that the highlight placement should match your blush placement. So if you're applying your blush diagonally, you should do that with your highlighter too. So it should kind of blend and hug the perimeter of your blush, not so much sit on top as a separate stripe. It should kind of merge and like mix together. Now, eyes. This is where the Thai glam really shows. She explains that with Asian eyes, often we lack the natural depth, so contouring the eye is an essential. She starts off with a transition shade, a beigey brown shade, and she's working that from the outer corner inwards and sweeping upwards, making sure to stay below the brow bone so that the eyes don't look too puffy. With what's left on the brush, she softly connects it towards the inner eye, blending it with the nose contour. When the brush runs out of pigment, she flicks the outer corner up diagonally to shape the eye. She also explains she holds the brush towards the end to keep the pressure very light. Great tip if you guys are heavy-handed with your shadows. Then she adds a deeper brown shade, pressing it close to the lash line around the outer corner first. So the darkest area should stay towards the lash line and slowly fade and transition up. She adds a touch of this to the inner lash line as well to frame the eye. Then she's going to go in with a shimmer shade, applying that with her fingers, and she's placing that on the center of the lid, but making sure that when Rosa opens up her eyes, you can still see the shimmer. For the lower lashes, she's using a smaller brush with a deeper brown and extending the outer half first to elongate the eyes. Then she adds it to the inner corner to add some depth, and then with whatever is left on the brush, she's going to connect the center part so that it's a soft liner. Now she's going to smoke and soften everything out with some brown shades. For this look, I specifically requested not to do like an Aguio style look because I read in the last comments some of you guys are not into this, and I completely understand. It can look a little bit too fake and I don't know, like filtered or AI or just not so natural. So for this look, we're not doing that. We're just smoking out the bottom to enlarge the eyes. Moving on to liner, she's going to curl the lashes first. A good tip when curling someone else's lashes is to rest the top of the curler against their lid so that you don't accidentally like yank and pull off their lashes. I was a bit rusty when I did my side, so keep that in mind, all you guys that are gonna, I don't know, curl someone else's lashes. She's going to use a black gel pencil to waterline to add that sharpness and depth. Now with the Thai style liner, it usually lifts up towards the end, but they kind of leave the outer corner open to help make the eyes look elongated. And we don't want like a super sharp defined flick. This one's going to be a little bit softer, a little bit more rounded. Now she's going to reinforce the liner with black shadow, so it's going to almost soften the line but also make it last longer. She's going to add some of that black into the inner corner, and to make it look natural, you want to drag and extend from the inside outwards so you get that soft fade naturally. She also uses the shadow to softly line the lower waterline. Now this look is coming together and it's looking extra smoky. Next is lashes. The style is a clean, defined, not too thick or blocky lash, and she's using a strip lash instead of clusters. What's interesting is that she actually curls the strip lashes first before applying them to maximize the lift. Genius tip. Then she glues them on top of the natural lashes and she nudges them upwards as they dry. Once they're on, she's going to blend everything with mascara and use tweezers to pinch and blend the natural lashes together with the falsies so they look seamless. Now we got to do some lower lashes because that's what makes it look pro. She adds a few pieces of lower lashes to the outer half of the eye and finishes off with mascara. Now she's adding a little bit of a highlighter to the inner corner of the eyes. For this, you want to do like a C shape, and then she's going to fill in any gaps in the lash line with a liquid liner. Now, brows. Rosa has very sparse brows, so we're going to draw them in. To keep them natural, she uses hair-like strokes and 3 different brow shades. 3, guys. Is that not just extra? This is going to help create a more realistic 3D looking brow. And honestly, guys, I was in awe watching her do this. I was also very nervous at the same time. I was sweating because I was thinking, how am I going to do my side? I feel like I chose the hardest look. I don't know if I can do this. My turn. Here goes nothing. Can you tell I was concentrating so hard? Like the pressure was real. Thankfully, muscle memory started coming back. I got through the liner, even the lashes, and Rosa looked happy, which is always a good sign. I think she felt good about not going home with 2 different faces. The brows were the real challenge though. I was praying that mine wouldn't end up looking like the ugly stepsister brow. I literally held my breath, trusted my teacher, and somehow The brows ended up looking like sisters. My gosh, I can finally breathe again. The whole 3-color brow thing, guys, like that seems like overkill, but it was needed, especially if you're working with non-existent brows. Time for lips. Now, since the eyes are pretty strong, she's going to keep the lips soft and more plump. So she conceals any discoloration first. Then she uses a nude pink matte shade as a corrector. This is going to help neutralize the pigmentation around the edges. Once we've got that lip base on, she's going to overline with a lip pencil. And she explains that with a Thai style lip, the Cupid's bow and the overall lip shape looks more rounded and full, but not as dramatic and crazy as the Douyin style. A lot of you guys weren't vibing with this red lippy that I had on in my previous video, so I think you guys might appreciate this lip today. Once the lips are a little bit overlined, not too crazily overdone, she's going to add a little bit of volume and plumpness using a pinky gloss tint. This is just going in the center of the lips to give it that youthful color. Then she blends it with a nude gloss shade around the edges, so you've got this very natural gradient lip, but it's not super obvious that it's gradient, if you know what I mean. I love how this looks. To finish off, we're going to add a little bit more of a deeper blush to sculpt and contour the face, and then she's going to use a pinky translucent powder. This is Huda's Easy Bake, and the pink is going to help to brighten and also blur the texture of the skin and set any oily areas. Then one final layer of setting spray and a quick hairstyling session. And here's the final look on our lovely model. Be honest, can you tell which side I did? I'm genuinely so happy with the result, and I'm even happier with everything I learned. I really hope you picked up some new techniques too. And a huge thank you to Phan. Full disclaimer, I'm a paying student and she was kind enough to let me film and share this lesson so more people can learn with me as well. I am so grateful for that. I am planning to do more lessons with her. I want to do a look on mature skin and a couple of other styles as well. So let me know if you want to see part 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, subscribe if you're new here, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!